Hi, welcome to episode 2 of the Beanbag Brunch. I'm one of your hosts, Francesca,
Domenico,
Adriana,
and today we're talking about fractured fairy tales.
we started doing fractured fairy tales by picking a fairy tale from a basket.
and we had to make our own fractured fairy tales with it.
Fractured fairy tales means you get a fairy tale and you make it your own, but you keep the base of the story.
And we got a lot of good ideas, and we are happy to share them with you.
Hi, my name is Gabriella. The story I fractured on is Little Red Riding. Little Red and the Two Animals. Once upon a time, there was a young little girl named Little Red that wanted to go see her grandmother. One day, Little Red said to her mom, "Mother, can I go see Grandma?" Her mom said, "Of course, darling. But would you mind bringing a basket of cake and orange juice?" Little Red said, "Okay, Mother." Then Little Red walked to her grandmother's cottage that was very far away in the forest. Suddenly she saw two figures in the distance, and they were coming closer and closer until Little Red saw a wolf, but the wolf wasn't alone. Walking with the wolf was a coyote. Little Red got scared of the animals and ran in the forest. And she was running really far until she tripped over a branch and hurt both of her knees. Little Red was crying very hard when a woodsman heard Little Red crying. So he ran in the forest and saw her crying. The woodsman asked, "How did you get hurt?" Little Red said, "I was running because I got scared of a coyote and a wolf, and then I tripped over this branch, and I hurt both of my knees." The woodsman said, "Okay, but why are you in the forest?" Little Red answered, "I'm in the forest because I'm on my way to go see my grandmother." So Little Red got up, took her basket of food, and skipped to the botanical garden. When Little Red was skipping, the wolf and the coyote were slowly following her. Then Little Red heard footsteps coming close to her, so she started running faster and faster until she reached her destination. When Little Red reached her destination, she found a bush and decided to hide in it until the wolf and the coyote would leave. When the wolf and the coyote left, Little Red got out from the bush and picked out beautiful flowers for her grandmother. Little Red heard a noise, so she ran in the bushes behind her, and when she was running, she dropped her bouquet of pretty red roses. After Little dropped her roses and said, "Oh no, my roses!" "Oh well, it doesn't matter." So then Little Red kept going through the bushes until she reached her grandmother's very nice little cottage. Little Red opened the door and saw her grandmother dancing with very loud music. Little Red was shocked and said, "Grandma, Grandma, Grandma!" Then Little Red's grandma looked behind her and turned off the music and said, "Oh, hello, darling. How are you?" "Good," Little Red answered. So they both looked at each other and said, "Let's have a party." Little Red put her basket on the bed, and her grandma turned on the music and started dancing. While they were dancing, the wolf and the coyote sneaked into the cottage and ate all the food that was in the basket. Little Red turned off the music, asked her grandma, "Grandma, would you like to have some of the treats I brought?" "Of course, I'm starving," the grandma answered. So they went to the bed, but then they noticed that the food was gone. They tried to find who ate the food, but then Little Red saw crumbs and followed until she saw the wolf and the coyote, and her grandma said, "Good thing they didn't eat us." Little Red was very sad. "I brought those for us to enjoy, and now they're gone." Little Red's grandmother gave her a hug. Then Little Red asked Grandma if she could go to the botanical garden to calm down? And their grandma said yes. So they both went and picked out beautiful red roses to decorate the grandma's cottage, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Hi, my name is Quarantino, and I fractured the Three Little Pigs, the wolf, and the brick house. Once upon a time, there was a wolf and three little pigs. One day, there was a wolf in a forest, and he needed a house. So he chopped down some trees and used the wood to build the house. One day, the three little pigs saw where the wolf built his house and wanted to build a house there. They went up to him and said, "Move your house. We want to build our house here." But the wolf said, "No." The three little pigs huffed and they puffed and they blew the house down. Then the three little pigs built their house out of wood. The wolf then decided to build a house out of hay. Unfortunately for the wolf, the three little pigs said, "We want to build our house here." The wolf again said, "No." So the three little pigs huffed and they puffed and they blew the house down. The wolf decided to run far, far away into the forest, and he built a house out of brick. But the three little pigs found him and said, "Hey, we wanted to build our house there." The wolf said no. The three little pigs huffed and they puffed and they couldn't blow it down. The three little pigs were very surprised. "You won this time, wolf," they shouted. After that day, they never bothered the wolf again. The end.
Hi, my name is Valentino, and the story I fractured is the Frog Prince. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Princess Sophia. One day, Princess Sophia was playing with her ball in the woods. Her sister, Princess Melissa, accidentally kicked her ball in a pond. They saw their golden ball sink to the bottom of the pond. When they were about to go get help, splash! A frog came out of the pond with their ball. "Oh, thank you," said Princess Sophia. "For what?" said the frog. "You got my ball," said Princess Sophia. "Oh, yes, but I will only give it back on one condition," said the frog. "And what would that be?" said Princess Sophia. "You will feed me, let me sleep in your little bed, and give me a bath every day in the morning," listed the frog. "Deal," said Princess Sophia, and the frog gave her back her ball. The next day, the frog knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. "Who's there?" said the oldest princess. "I would like to speak with Princess Sophia," said the frog. "Sophia!" shouted the oldest princess. "Yes," said Sophia. "Someone would like to speak with you." "Well, tell him or her to go away." She said go away. "Very well then, I will come back tomorrow," and the frog left the palace. The next day was exactly the same, and every other day of the months was the same. And one day, Princess Sophia decided to answer the door because the knock was a bit louder than usual. But when Princess Sophia answered the door, there was an alligator that swallowed her whole. From then on, Princess Sophia always remembered to keep her promises, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Hi, my name is Manueli, and I fractured the story Snow White. Snow White and the Candy Shop. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Snow White. She owned a candy shop and lived on the apartment on top of the shop. Her father was remarried to Abigail, an evil queen who had a magic mirror. Every day, Abigail would go to her mirror and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Then the mirror replied, "You are the fairest of them all." One day, the queen asked the mirror again, and he said, "Snow White is the fairest of them all." "Ugh, I hate that girl," screamed Abigail. "Those eyes, that skin, wet as snow. Everyone likes her. If I could only kill her, everyone would look at me," she said. Abigail sent the royal guard to go kill Snow White. Then when he got close to her, her father, the king, came and said, "I am your king," he said. "Leave her alone. If you don't, there will be several consequences," he shouted. Then the guard ran back to Abigail and said, "Apparently the king said that if I did not leave her alone, there were going to be several consequences, and I did not want them, so I ran back." "Don't worry, I have a better idea," said Abigail. "Can I help?" asked the guard. "No, because you failed your mission," Abigail screamed at the guard. So she prepared a potion that had poison and put it on a candy that she bought from Snow White's shop. Snow White was having a wonderful time in her shop. "Lots of orders today," she said, as her best friend Amelia was coming in the shop. "Hi, Amelia, how are you?" said Snow White. "Good, thanks. You?" said Amelia. Good, thanks. Would you like to board or anything? Asked Snow White. Yes, those lollipops just like always, said Amelia. You should really try them. Okay, I will, but later, said Snow White. So Snow White had many customers until her stepmother came in the shop and said, Hello, Snow White. I bought this lollipop a few days ago just for you. So please just try it. I will, once I get to Edward's castle. He invited me to a tea party, Snow White said with a loving look in her eyes. Abigail did not like that, so she said in a very mad voice, How could somebody just invite you to a royal tea party? I like him and he likes me. And that's it, said Snow White. So he hosted a tea party in honor of me, said Snow White, running away with the lollipop. When Snow White got to her car, she drove quickly to the castle. When the tea party was over, Snow White took the lollipop out of her pocket and tasted it. But at the same exact moment that it touched her tongue, she fainted. She rolled down the staircase and made a loud sound. The prince ran out to see what was happening. He saw Snow White on the floor and started to cry. Then Abigail suddenly appeared and said, Hello, I'm Abigail, her stepmother. That spell can only be broken with a kiss of true love. The prince immediately kissed her and she woke up. Then Snow White asked Abigail, How could you do this to me? Oh, stop, you brat. You know I hate you, screamed Abigail. Snow White started to run away, but Abigail stopped her and said, I captured your best friend. Amelia? Asked Snow White. Yes, said Abigail. Snow White continued to run to her house and told the prince to come. Then Abigail said, I poisoned Amelia, so now she's evil. Ha ha ha. No, cried Snow White. The only way to break the spell is to kill me, said Abigail. Snow White rushed back home with the prince, but she went in Abigail's office first. She went inside and she saw that Abigail was actually a witch. Snow wrote a letter to Abigail and it said, Dear Abigail, it's me, Snow White, and I found you're a witch. Meet me in your office by noon. Abigail rushed to her office and found Snow White with a candy in her hand. Then she started chasing her, and when she caught her, Snow put the candy inside Abigail's pocket. Then she accidentally let Snow go. Snow White ran away and slammed the door in Abigail's face. Snow White was upstairs spying on Abigail. Then Abigail saw there was a little note on the candy that was in her pocket. She read it carefully and put it back in her pocket. Then Amelia, who was still evil, came and said, Oh, where are you, Snow White? Come out, wherever you are. No, never, cried Snow White. Uh-oh, she said. Amelia found her and started chasing her until she caught Snow White. Abigail got hungry because of all the evil stuff she did, so she tried a candy, and Amelia and her both fell to the ground. Abigail was no longer alive, but Amelia still was. It's just that the spell was so powerful that she fainted. Then Snow White started to cry, and one of her tears started to glow and it fell on Amelia's cheek, and it healed her. She woke up and Snow White asked if she was okay, and she said yes. The prince got down on one knee right in the middle of Snow's shop and asked her if she would marry him. Amelia came to this ceremony. Her and the prince got married, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Hope you're enjoying the stories you heard so far. And Canva is a storytelling application which you can write your own story and customize it the way you want.
The grade 4s took their pictures off of Google or we found them on Canva. Also, we had different varieties of fonts and we customized it the way that we liked it. But the grade 3s did it in a different way.
The grade 3s had to draw pictures and upload them on Canva.
Hi, my name is Kevin, and the story I fractured is The Empress' New Clothes. Once upon a time, there was an emperor who loved jobs more than anything. Unfortunately, he could never get one because he was an emperor. He would hope and dream, but nothing would happen. He tried being a therapist, a vet, archaeologist, teacher, but he always failed to do it. Until one day, a nasty crook tricked the emperor. His name was Deadeye Gulch. And one look at him and you'll get goosebumps and your spine will get the chills. The man was a swindler. He made the emperor pretend he was working on the looms. This is nonsense. thought the emperor. I can't stand this. But he kept on weaving because it was the first job he ever got, so there was no way that he would turn this chance down. You fool. I have trapped you here to teach you a lesson. Get it? Teach a lesson? Because you failed as a teacher. You can never do anything, said Deadeye. Huh. Well, it's better than nothing at all, said the emperor. The crook kept asking for the finest silk and gold. He sold a hanger to make it look like there was something there. And he kept stealing from the poor emperor who wanted nothing more than to leave. He really didn't like the job, but he had no choice but to keep suffering, till one day a tiny fairy who had been searching for him told him to do his best to prove his heart was pure. He tried his best. He found a way to steal the key from Deadeye Gulch and left. He searched for his village. The fairy came and said, Your pure heart has drawn my attention. Here's your money, your gold, your fine silk, and everything that I stole from you. I must go. Goodbye. Keep being good and always follow your heart, not your gut. The emperor lived happily ever after.
Hi, my name is Maya, and the story I fractured is Rapunzel. Rapunzel saves the day. Once there was a family who was going to have a baby girl. The mother was very ill, and the only thing she wanted to eat was the Rapunzel plant in the next house. But there was an enchantress who lived there. She was very mean, and when I say mean, I mean extremely mean. So the husband snuck in the enchantress's yard and took some Rapunzel. The enchantress caught him and said, Take as much Rapunzel as you would like, but in return you need to give me your firstborn child. He agreed, but he didn't tell his wife what had happened. The baby girl was finally born until a dark and stormy night, and everyone was sleeping. But the enchantress broke into the castle, stole the child, and vanished in the air. Now the enchantress and Rapunzel lived together. Sorry, not the plant Rapunzel. The baby's name is Rapunzel. Back to the story. The enchantress and Rapunzel lived in the woods, in a little tower. Rapunzel grew up to be a beautiful young girl with blue eyes and beautiful short blonde hair. When the enchantress had to leave, she would lock Rapunzel in. One day, the enchantress had to visit her friend who was also wicked. She locked Rapunzel's door and set off. But Rapunzel always wanted to see the outdoors, so she took out a bobby pin and unlocked the door, and escaped. Then she talked to herself and doubted escaping. Then she bumped into a prince, and they talked. He cheered her up, and he said that he would help her stay free. Rapunzel started picking flowers. She thought each one was better than the last. Unfortunately, it didn't last long when the enchantress found Rapunzel. She was far away, and the prince was watching her run free and pick flowers. The enchantress quickly grabbed the prince, and the prince yelled, Stop! Let me go! Rapunzel heard the yelling and slowly turned and saw the enchantress pulling the prince away into the small tower. So Rapunzel did what she thought she needed to do. She snuck in the tower and she started to hide. The prince caught her eye and said, Run free, that's your dream. Rapunzel said, No, I have a different dream. But first, I will help you set free. When the enchantress was busy cooking, Rapunzel untied the prince, but the enchantress caught them before they could escape. The enchantress made a potion and put it in a drink. The potion was to give to the prince so the prince can't see or speak again. Rapunzel knew her tricks and told the prince that she put a potion in the drink. He gave it to Rapunzel and said, Throw it out the window. Instead, she told the enchantress she would drink the potion instead. The enchantress said, Okay, go ahead. I want to see it empty when I come back. When she left, Rapunzel spilled the glass in a plant. She showed the enchantress when she came back. She was convinced and started cooking again. Meanwhile, Rapunzel took a spell book and made a spell to make the enchantress fall into a deep sleep. She switched the cups and told the enchantress, Here, I brought you water. You must be tired. The enchantress drank it and fell down. And Rapunzel saved the prince, and they got married, and she met her real parents again. Her parents couldn't believe it. They jumped up for joy and hugged her tightly. The end.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and the story that I fractured was the 12 Dancing Princesses. The Other Father. Once upon a time, there lived 11 princesses: Esmeralda, Gretchen, Theodora, Penelope, Beth, Jasmine, Ivanka, Ivana, Miavana, Drana, and Tatiana. Esmeralda was the eldest and Tatiana was the youngest. Everyone described Esmeralda as the bossiest and everyone described Tatiana as the weakest. They teased her and nobody listened to her ideas or her opinions. As any siblings would, they fight a lot. They always get into debates with many silly topics, but one team had to win, so the team with Esmeralda obviously always won. Other than that, they always got along well. Their father pressured them to get along, and they were a little bit scared of him, so they needed a hobby so they won't be stressed about it. They started dancing, and it really worked out for them. One day, their father was out running errands, as usual, and caught them dancing. He was furious and banned them. The princesses were shocked. Even Esmeralda stayed silent without making faces and talking back. They went to bed, still shocked. Tatiana went to bed instantly, and the girls were surprised that she hadn't been sobbing by now, and she was in fact happy to go to bed. Drana was too naive, reckless, and curious to let this slide, so she stayed up. As soon as she was drifting to sleep, Tatiana sprung up and walked through the door, skipping and humming, opening the bathroom door, Drana following behind loudly. The other princesses obviously heard the noise, and they all got up and investigated the noise. They saw Drana standing there with her jaw touching the ground. Drana, you look like you saw a ghost. Are you okay? Drana struggled to speak, but only muttered a few words. Tatiana walked through the wall. She lifted her hand and pointed at the back wall. Esmeralda shoved her younger sisters to the side and rushed to the wall, Drana aside so she. The princesses laughed at Drana and said she's faking. Tatiana probably pulled a prank on Drana, and it's so obvious. Calm down, girls. It was 1 a.m. Everything was still and silent. What they didn't know is that the king heard everything and stormed to the bathroom. What is all this noise? He pulled Esmeralda and Drana by their ears. Father, Drana screamed dramatically. Stop, you are hurting us. This is absurd behavior, especially for a king. The king stopped in his tracks, his eyes slowly turning red, turning his head to Drana. How dare you speak to me like that? He threw them both in their bedroom and the other princesses following behind. You two are grounded, he said while pointing at Esmeralda and Drana. Great job, Drana, said Esmeralda, rolling her eyes. What did I do? I really saw her go through that wall. She turned to Penelope and Ivanka, hoping that they would defend her, but they turned to their beds and slowly walked to them. Esmeralda grinned and turned to her bed. Tatiana is fine, trust me. She's the weakest here. We would have heard her scream. Calm down. But Drana didn't listen, so at 3 a.m, she went back to the bathroom and this time touched the wall. And her hand went through. Oh my gosh, Drana said softly while walking through the wall. Welcome, Princess Tatiana, said a voice. Drana didn't know where the voice was coming from. Hello? Drana asked. A little voice answered. Drana looked around and saw the person talking. Hi, I'm Gilda. You don't look like Princess Tatiana, Gilda squeaked. I'm her sister, Drana Nevermore. Lovely. Like I said, I'm Gilda Kevmar. You must come meet up with Princess Tatiana. The prince will row the boat to the castle, but first we should fix your outfit. Oh, Laura. Why, yes, dear sister. Escort Miss Nevermore here to the makeover room. Of course, Laura said happily. She dragged Drana by the arm and rushed her to the dressing room. After a prince signaled her to come inside a boat, she stepped inside and the prince started rowing. The whole time Drana was looking at her hands, but she heard a familiar voice, so she looked up and saw Tatiana dancing with the prince, laughing, twirling, with hardly any care in the world. She looked so majestic, like a swan landing on a lake. As soon as she said that, the prince stopped rowing. Come, Miss Nevermore, come dance in the castle. I just came here to see Tatiana, Drana said shakily. It wouldn't hurt to dance, said the prince. Plus, Princess Tatiana told us that the king doesn't let you dance. She says that you are kind and caring. She knew you were watching her, but since she just wants the better for you, said the prince with a smile on his face. Wow, I never knew this, Drana said, looking down at her hands. Drana, Tatiana said while signaling her to come. Come on, I've been waiting forever. Don't keep me waiting. The prince grabbed her by her hand and lightly tugged her towards the castle. As she got closer, she started admiring the castle even more. It's beautiful. Tatiana rushed over to Drana, flailing her arms, and hugged her tightly as soon as she got close enough. I was waiting. Come on, Tatiana said impatiently. They got on the stage and started dancing. They danced for 2 hours. We have to go back now, Tatiana said, staring at her watch. She dragged Drana across the ballroom and back to where Gilda and Laura were. She pulled Drana in the portal. Tatiana explained how the other father made it for the 11 sisters. I tried telling Esmeralda and the others, but they never listened to me, Tatiana said sadly. I traveled to the castle, and I would see the other father. He would ask me every night, have you brought your sisters yet? But I always have to make an excuse about it. Tatiana looked to the ground, almost crying. I'm sorry about everything, but maybe I can ask them? Tatiana looking at her hands, looking up to Drana. Oh my gosh, would you actually do it? Yes, of course. Tatiana started tearing up and put herself in Drana's arms. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. They both walked to their beds, holding hands while giggling and whispering. They leaped in their beds and drifted off to sleep slowly. Everything was calm. Everything was peaceful and silent. Bang! Drana woke up and checked the door. She opened it slowly and looked on the other side of the door. She saw her father. Scared, she rushed to her bed. She was as quiet as a mouse walking across her bedroom to her bed. She leaped inside and pretended she was sleeping as the other father burst through the door. About 5 minutes later, he left the room. Panting, Drana woke up the other princesses. She sat them down on one old rickety bed. Girls, Drana said sternly, we have to go to the other room, please. It's real, I promise. Tatiana sprung up and defended her sister. It's true, please believe us. Esmeralda stood up and asked them, okay, if it really is true, show us the dimension portal thing. Go on, show us. Tatiana gestured to the other girls to get up and follow her. They rushed to the bathroom and went inside the bathroom wall. Esmeralda in the back pushed the other girls to get in the front. She jumped in the portal. Fascinated, all the other girls leaped in behind her. There were oohs and ahs all around. Drana rushed them near a tree to discuss their living situation. Girls, me and Tatiana decided to live here forever. Drana was looking around and heard Esmeralda mumbling, you guys aren't maniacs, I guess. Drana called Gilda and Laura. They rushed over and grabbed the girls by their arms and put them in beautiful dresses to go meet the other father. Tatiana rushed the girls to the castle, explaining the other father's personality and characteristics. They finally arrived at the castle. Tatiana explained the proper etiquette for meeting the other father. The princesses practiced and learned quickly. Perfect. You guys are ready. Father will be ecstatic. They entered the castle to find the other father waiting for their arrival. My dear children, for your arrival I have bought you all a gift, said the other father, smiling. Look, Lady Diana, please bring me the gift if you will. Lady Diana heard father's demands, brought him 11 beautifully wrapped gifts, all with beautiful red ribbon on top of a white box. Tatiana walked to Lady Diana, took the boxes, and passed them out. The princesses were shocked and pleased with ballet shoes plus dresses. Now, dear children, dance away. Lady Diana rushed them to try on their new outfits. Wow, better than before, I guess, Esmeralda said, smirking. The princesses rushed out of the dressing room and to the king's castle. The king clapped his hands, summoning 11 well-dressed and well-mannered princes. Esmeralda pushed her sisters and strutted to a boat. All the princesses followed behind, Esmeralda not knowing what to expect. They arrived at the castle. It's fantastic, the girls all said in unison. They danced basically all night. It's been 5 years, Drana. 5 years without the girls knowing, Tatiana said. I know, Drana said with a stern look on her face. We will escape this fantasy. We have to go back to reality. Drana said, we have to be the heroines in this fantasy. The girls packed all the princesses' bags and woke everyone. Listen, this fantasy is too good to be true. Come with us and we will escape. But why? Ivanka asked. The king is a fraud. He's tricked other princesses gullible enough to believe his lies. He's hurt them, and you have proof, right? Penelope asked. Of course I do. Drana reached for the table behind her, grabbed the book, and showed it to the girls. See, a book of spells. Drana flipped through the pages. Look, a morphing spell. Father used it to become a real father. Esmeralda looked at it closely, her face slowly turning white. Esmeralda, Ivana asked with a worried look on her face. It's true, isn't it? Esmeralda gasped. Leave as fast as you can now. What? I'll explain later. Go now. The princesses scattered around the room. They snuck to the beginning where it all started. When they came back to reality, their father ran to them and hugged them as tight as possible. I'm sorry I've treated you all like this. I love you all. To show my appreciation, I have brought you all gifts awaiting for your arrival. Father, this is unlike you. What happened? I have realized life without you is unbearable. I love you all equally. The princesses lived a splendid life until Esmeralda. What happened when we escaped the other father? Drana asked. Well, when I was 5, I had a best friend. She was a princess too, until one day she disappeared. All that was left of her was a spell book with a sticky note that read, The other father was here. Well, I'm sorry, Esmeralda. It's not your fault. At least we're safe. For now, the other father said, smirking.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We were your hosts, Francesca,
Domenico,
And Adriana. Hope you enjoyed the stories.
like, subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends. And stay tuned for the next episode on the Beanbag Bunch!